Why does it always start raining the second I start recording? Hello friend, my name is Kiri, and today we are going to be talking about Date Warp, which is a visual novel created by Hanako Games and released in 2014. It tells the story of Janet, who is going on a date with her classmate named Bradley, when their car breaks down in the middle of a storm in the middle of some creepy forest, so they have to go out into that creepy forest to find some help, which is when they come across a mysterious mansion which is inhabited by 4 just as mysterious men. After being unable to contact any help, they decide to stay the night at the mansion until the storm passes, but when they wake up in the morning, they find out that the security system has overloaded and created a physical barrier, which is keeping them trapped inside that mysterious, creepy as shit mansion. So I genuinely enjoyed the crap out of this story. Each character has their own backstories, they have their own personalities with their little quirks and their mannerisms, and I just found the characters all to be very believable. I found them to be very relatable, especially if you start getting into their character-specific arcs and you learn more about them. It was a diverse and colorful cast, so right off the bat, I was drawn in. And I'm not too into the enigmatic types, but the way that the game sort of like dangles a secret in front of you and then whisks it away really got my attention. I wanted to know why Albin, Linz, and Raphael were so secretive. I wanted to know what they were hiding from Janet. I wanted to know why they insisted on keeping the power on. So, you know, obviously the person that made this game really knew how to get your attention and sort of like just dangle information in front of you. And I really wanted to know what that countdown timer was counting down to, because it acted as a sort of transition into each chapter, but they didn't tell you what it was counting down to, and I was sitting here like, what is happening? Oh, I messed up my hair. But then the story began to steadily progress, and it threw more information at you, and one hell of a plot twist, and you realize that this isn't some silly dating sim visual novel type that has an overloaded security system as a convenient plot device. No, you find out that this is a full-blown, like, sci-fi story with time travel and altered dimensions, and it was good. And there are 11 different endings. The choices that you make throughout the game unlock specific lines of text, they unlock specific scenes, and in doing so, that sort of like walks you into whatever ending you're about to get. So there is a ton of replay value because you're not going to be playing the same game over and over again. There's definitely something different in each time you play. Once you unlock the first 10 endings, that is when you get the 11th true ending, but if I'm honest, I only unlocked 4 because I got kinda lazy and I thought, you know what, I don't need to rush it, I can always come back and play the game later. But some of the endings that I got were sad as hell. Like, really, they knew how to throw some feels at you when they wanted to. This plays like your standard visual novel, so there's not a whole lot to comment on in this department. You have all of the standard options you see in any other visual novel, such as text speed, screen resolution, sound levels, and so on. The only thing that really stood out at me was how you make decisions in the game, because you get about 2 to 3 options per scenario, and you need to hook up the power from this weird glowing emblem thing to whatever option you want to pick. It felt a lot like those security puzzles from BioShock, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's what inspired this. Anyways, I appreciated how it was sort of a nod to how technology-based their problems were. However, if I am completely honest, there were a few times where the puzzles were infuriatingly difficult to get what I wanted. There were a couple times where I had to just pick some option that wasn't what I wanted to pick because I was unable to solve the puzzle to get to the option that I actually wanted, which was kind of infuriating because, like, there were a couple that just felt downright impossible to solve. And I'm typically pretty damn good at puzzles. There were also a few glitches in full screen, but it was usually just things that didn't really matter, like there would be a skip in text or a weird pixelated like flash on the screen, but it was nothing too bad. It wasn't anything that really took away from the overall experience of the game. Date Warp's art was actually pretty damn good. Just like how all of the personalities were different, all of the cast members were they were completely different from the last, they gave them all a very unique flair, even if they weren't the most unique characters created. Bradley actually kind of reminded me from Kyo-Soma from Fruits Basket, if any of you have read or seen that, and it was interestingly enough matched by his hot-headed personality. And the sprites were all very well drawn, with detail painstakingly added to every single character. And thankfully, the detailed backgrounds meshed very well with the sprites because they all had the same amount of detail, they had the same textures. It wasn't like a cartoon on a super detailed background. It was a detailed sprite on a detailed background, so it all worked very well together, even in color palettes. Everything was just lovely. I will admit, though, that outside of the normal gameplay type of appearance, they would have these stills for the special moments, and I don't know if it was created by another artist or just if the artist wasn't good at the poses they were trying to create, but they did come off as pretty awkward, and a lot of that had to do with the facial anatomy more than anything else, and there were a couple of times where it was just so awkward it almost took away from what was happening in the scene because these special stills were created in emotional scenes for the most part. So that was kind of a shame. So all in all, I really enjoyed playing Date Warp. The story isn't incredibly long, but like I said earlier, there is a ton of replay value. So if you buy this at the full $10 it sells at, you're definitely going to be getting your money's worth out of this. The story was incredibly fun to experience, the art sure as hell wasn't shabby, and the OST was very good. It had it had an adventurous, quirky feel to it. I really like what they did. Anyways, those are my thoughts on Date Warp. Have you seen it? Did you find Albin as cute as I did? Let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, you can find all of my social media as well as my Patreon in the description. Happy unbirthday, and I will see you later. Bye!